Please join me in welcoming Graziella DiNuzzo, who has been telling the stories, creating events, and getting media attention for organizations and individuals for the past 25 years. Graziella's wealth of experience includes managing public relations campaigns and events for clients, including the World Trade Center of Greater Philadelphia, Rutgers University Department of Fine Arts, and Global Philadelphia Association, and the Philadelphia World Heritage City Project. From the moment I met Graziella, I was empowered by her energy and her passion for creating her own destiny. She will share with you her insight on how good things come to those who hustle, empowering your side gig. I hope you feel her passion and energy as much as I do. Please welcome Graziella.
Graziella, I'm so excited that we have a chance to talk to you today. Since the moment I met you, I think it was like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, I was so impressed and I was so overwhelmed with your energy and your career path and the opportunity that you've given yourself and to others by developing and creating solid, fun, exciting side hustles. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because I think everybody has something inside of them that they thought, you know what, I'd love to be able to do that, but I don't know. I'm not sure. So we're here to pick your brain and see exactly what were your thought process on how you've led yourself with your career and your side hustles and how you've engaged with others and what's your mission, what's your passion. So why don't you give everybody just a real brief summary of where you are today, but how you got here.
Okay, well, thank you, Pam. And the minute I met you, I loved your energy. And I was in your office and I said, wow, she's one of us, because you have to have passion for life and for living and no fear. You just have to want to do as much as you can to live your life to the fullest. And for me, I've always been that person since I was a little kid running around, and my mom was always saying, can you just sit still and do one thing? And I've never been able to do one thing. And that's really cool to be able to do that. My side hustle is I executive produce jazz festivals. I'm on my 18th jazz festival now, and I've done that while holding down a full-time job, always. So I was a communications director at Rutgers, Camden, and I was still doing the jazz festival. And I've also done public relations, and I've written, and I've actually had the honor and pleasure to write for the Greater Philadelphia Northeast Chamber in Business Magazine, and that was so exciting. The reason I do a side hustle is because it's really not for the money, although the money helps. It's really for the opportunity to do what I love to do in different settings. So here about 22 years ago, I happened to be in a jazz club, and I don't know what got over me. And I walked up to the leader of the band. I said, you're amazing. You're great. We should probably do something together. And he looked at me and he was like, okay, yeah. I was like, no, we should work together maybe. And within a year or two, we were in the Dominican Republic Jazz Festival. And my kids were like 9 and 10 at the time. And here I am, a mom, and of course you have to explain that one. What are you doing? Well, I'm going with this band to the Dominican Republic, and we're going to create this jazz festival there and do some things. And it's been a labor of love, and I'm not tired.
So getting something like that off the ground is no small task. And as an event planner, coordinator for 34 years, of course I started when I was 12, but I comes with the concept. You have the chutzpah to go up to a musician and say, hey, listen, I see a potential here. So how did you get that started? How did you go about getting into the Dominican Jazz Festival within a year or two of just forming a partnership?
You know, I didn't think about it. I didn't think about what I was really doing. I had no idea. I'm like, well, there's got to be a phone number and there's got to be some way to reach these people, and maybe there's an email or whatever. And it was so long ago. I think what I ended up doing was emailing a producer that I found on, might have even been MySpace or whatever that was, that other social media platform back in the day. And I received a response. Yeah. And sometimes you just have to go and ask, because you never know. The person, everyone says, no one's going to talk to me. That person wouldn't. When we did our first festival in Philadelphia, and what we did was, I said, well, we need a committee. So let's just start at the top. So we went out and reached out to the city, and we reached out to the Multicultural Affairs Congress and Visit Philly and all these great organizations. And everyone said yes, and we just kept looking at each other going, okay, this is cool. And then we're like, can we borrow your conference room? They're like, sure. And here we are in a conference room on the 21st floor, somewhere on Broad Street, I don't know. And everyone was listening to what we had to say. And what we were really saying is, let's bring a jazz festival to Philadelphia for free, what the people really need. And it resonated. And I think it was just this honest ask. And we weren't afraid. And we laughed the whole time because we were having fun doing it.
When did you start to realize that things started to click? I know you're alluding to the fact that very early on you had that shock factor that there actually were having an audience with professionals and key professionals throughout the city that may not have been achievable, or relationships be achievable or attainable if you had sat and planned it. But when did you actually start to realize that you were onto something, and this is really clicking, and this is something that may or may not work, but it looks like it's on a good path?
When we reached out to the Lowe's Philadelphia hotel that had just opened up, and we asked if we could have their ballroom for free. And we said, can we have an act in there? Because at that point we weren't outdoors yet. We were going all these venues inside. And the general manager said, well, I can't give it to you for free, but I can give it to you at a really, really discounted price. And we thought, wow, I mean, everyone wants to do this. And we had a great product, and we knew it. We believed in what we were doing. And we didn't even think we were going to really hear no for an answer once we were going through. There was a club in Philly called 32 Degrees Lounge in Old City. And they had just opened, and they wanted to do some promotions. And we said, well, can we have an after party at your place? They're like, great. How about an hour of free drinks and food? We're like, okay, that sounds great. We'll do it. But we delivered content. We delivered some of the best musicians in Philadelphia and vocalists, and they all received their pay. Now, I'll tell you, that very first festival that we did, we were at the Lowe's Ballroom, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever, and we looked at what we kind of looking in our head saying, well, how much money have we made? And we realized we made about $1.45 or something ridiculous. So we're like, with a cup of coffee, and it was okay. I had my full-time job, and we were able to just do it.
It sounds as though everything fell into place, and I'm sure a lot of it had, but what were some of the obstacles that you had that you would stop you in your tracks? And I'm sure there was at least a few that you stopped and thought, I'm not going to go through with this. This is just too hard. I already have a full-time job. Why am I doing this to myself? What were some of those obstacles?
When we did our first outdoor festival, and we realized the monumental amount of paperwork that you have to do, street closures, the fire department, the sanitation, the police department, and it wasn't, I thought, well, the police, they circle around all the time, don't they? No, you have to pay a special permit for this. When that started, I thought, okay, here we go. And that red tape, and we thought, okay, the porta potties, and then this, and then when it rained one year, and it rained a lot the entire weekend, and yet we had like a jazz Woodstock. Folks still came out because it's free. There's no skin in the game. It's okay. They came out. There were some days that we thought, oh my goodness, are we going to get this? And fast forward to today, we had a street permit for South Philly, South Street, and no one is doing any gatherings like that today.
Yeah.
But we're still doing it.
So did you have any pushback from any of the musicians? Did you have any problems with trying to gain support of some talent, and they looked at you and thought, who are you? What are you trying to do?
You know, we went to New York. Of course, there's so many great talent, so much great talent. But we booked some big names like the OJs and Philadelphia. I mean, Funkadelic and Esperanza Spalding. And we've had some big names. And I think when they realized, okay, we're going to come up with the money to pay these artists, but we tried to get them at a discount because it's in the community and it's free. We really had to go and be face-to-face with a lot of their management and artists. And I think the fact that we showed up and we're like, yeah, okay, we'll come to New York and talk to you. You know, we had some nonsense too, where some of the artists wanted all this insane things in their rider. And the first thing we did was we said, well, we're going to have to just take the rider and kind of do this and say, nope, we can't do this. Sorry, no purple M&Ms or any of that. We're going to have, this is what we have. We have great food, we have a tent, we have a nice trailer, it's air conditioned, and this is a community festival. And if you're willing to do this for us, we're paying you pretty good money for this, and which we had to get sponsors to do. Please, and I think they saw our heart, and we said, please. And they said, okay. I mean, we had issues. We had some issues in the backstage sometimes, but they all seemed to work out.
Did you ever want to walk away and say, I can't do this any longer?
No. No, I never did. And my children, I have a 31-year-old daughter and a 28-year-old son, and they remember all the festivals, and they used to come in and help me. I'd say, okay, look, guys, can you sit at this table? You're going to sell CDs. Why don't you make a nice little poster and say CDs for sale or something? So, I mean, to this day, they remember that. And it wasn't easy for me to have to be on site for 5 days and get the phone call, I don't feel well, and, you know, the Tylenol's in the cupboard and that sort of thing. But I think I finally received the respect from my kids, and they understand.
That's, you know, it's funny because as women, I mean, this is a Women in Business conference online. However, men obviously participate with this, and we hope will also listen to our sessions. But as women, we are, I think, programmed with side hustles, having to juggle our professional careers and our children and our marriages. Not that men don't as well, but it just seems as though women are, they take the challenges a lot more seriously, and I think they take objection a little easier than some men do. Maybe I'm just making an assumption, please no hate mail, gentlemen, but I do think that there is an opportunity that we have to build a side hustle. So going back, based on what your experiences were, it sounded like they were pretty positive, and that's fabulous. I'm sure, obviously, you've had some bumps along the way, but I'm sure there are folks that are watching this and have had side hustles that they started that really didn't take off, even though they may have had the passion, maybe the timing was not right. What advice would you give them to either try again, reevaluate? What would you say? What would you say to the younger Graziella?
If you really want to do it, then you're going to do it, and say you're going to do it. And regardless, we were told we were not able to go outside this year. So of course we're going to do the virtual, but we're going to live stream it from a club. If you really want to get it done, you will find a way. It's really, the theme of our festival is undefeated jazz. And my younger self would have said, I think the same thing, just no fear. Don't be afraid of it. And don't be afraid of disappointment. I mean, things happened. When it rained that year, the stage was flooded. We had a generator blow. I was thinking, my goodness, if a musician falls off the stage, we have insurance, we're fine. And the whole time, you almost have to just find the humor in it and say, okay, let me just keep going. And it sounds so cliche-ish, oh, just keep going and never take no for an answer. It has to be built within you. What's the worst that's going to happen? It won't happen. It'll happen. Some form of it will happen, and you'll do it. If you can't do it on Saturday, maybe you'll have to do it 3 weeks from Saturday. Just, it's a mindset thing.
I think earlier you and I've had a conversation, and I thought that was something that I would like you to touch on now, where the side hustle is those who have a side hustle don't talk about in increments of time. Like if you're working your day job and you work from 9 to 5, your day ends at 5, even though those of us who our days don't end at 5, but there's still a finite time. Please share with everybody your thoughts on time.
Well, time goes out the window. There is no time. And if you're new agey like me, this time-space reality doesn't even exist. You really don't think about your day as 9 to 5. It's no, got to start at 9 and you cannot do that. You have to just be in the moment and live and get it done. And you might have to work on a Saturday. You might have to do a Sunday night. If you really don't want to deal with, if you want to compartmentalize your time and have it just on Tuesday, I'm going to do this, and on Fridays, I'm going to do that, and Monday through Friday, I'll work 9 to 5, then the side hustle is probably not for you, because it just, you have to be so malleable. You have to be so fluid. And you really just have to live in the moment. I don't know if I coined the phrase, but my family always says this. I say I live in 5 minutes. I live in 5-minute intervals. So, right now my dog is bothering me. It is what it is. You can't see him, her. It is what it is.
This is our world. This is our pandemic virtual world. So it's of course you have your dog with you, and that's just what makes it all real for all of us. Yeah. So touching on the pandemic, you run an in-person jazz festival. So what does 2020 bring for you?
2020, we realized early on, in March, we said, I don't know, this isn't going to work. We're going to probably do something else. So let's do this ahead of time. So we contacted the proprietors of a jazz club south, and we asked them if we can go inside and just live stream it from the stage. And of course it was touch and go because remember, the city wasn't open, and now it was September 8th they're opening. So we're going to do the festival. We've got 10 bands, and we're just going to bring one band in each time. Every time a band leaves, another band can come on. We will do the social distancing. There will not be an audience. And we're going to keep it to the 25% that the city has asked us to do. And we'll follow the rules and regulations, but we're still going to do this festival. And it's free, and it's going to be a live stream, but it's going to be live between 2 and 10 when you see it that day, and then it's going to live on forever on YouTube as everything else. So different, because we've always wanted the in-person, and we're going to be back in person in 2021, but we could not let this go without having a festival. And we could have easily said, sorry guys, we're canceling, but I couldn't imagine. We've done festivals since 2002.
It's part of you.
Yeah, it is. It is part of me.
So has your line of thinking changed as we are all challenged with the pandemic? Has your line of thinking on how you conduct your business through your side hustle through this? How has it inspired you to look at some things differently? Yes, it's temporary for this year, but will some of this new virtual world remain part of the jazz festival as you move forward?
Yes, absolutely. I'm finding it so exciting, the thought that now everyone in the world can see the festival. And that's so great. I mean, now I can finally tell my cousins in Italy have always said, oh, one day we'll come for the festival. Well, you should watch it. No, it's not the same thing as being in person, and we know that. But it's the next best thing. And we're going to keep it so that it is live. We're going to have informal little breaks and some videos and some fun informational kinds of things in between. And we're going to make it work. And we're going to have as much opportunity to give the musicians. And the other reason that I do this, and with Warren Ori, my business partner, is because we love the music, but we love the artists. And Philadelphia artists have never been given that stage before. And we've done this now to be able to give them the big stage on a festival and get them the recognition they deserve. When they tour in Europe, they're rock stars. Here in Philly, their hometown, no one really knows their name. And if I can go through this whole, we can be on for another 4 or 5 hours. I can talk to Sam Reed, who used to manage the Uptown Theater. He's going to be at our festival. Look him up.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to somebody who's interested in thinking about, or they're thinking about a side hustle and they're thinking, should I even try this? And I'll just expand my question a little further. If somebody has been, their hours have been reduced, or they have been displaced with their regular profession, or they're just reevaluating where they are in life and they feel as though that they would like to go in a new direction. And it's very difficult to just give up some things and just move in and start a new business and have it be your sole income. It's always good to start with a possible side hustle to see if it's something that is translatable. So what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to sell at a farmer's market, their artisan wear, somebody who's looking to open up a shop on Etsy, somebody who's looking to become a consultant as a side gig? It doesn't all have to be music and craft or what have you, or start to make their own wine. What would you say, knowing what you know from the 18 years experience that you've had, what would you be like the top couple of points that you would give advice to somebody who's considering this?
Find what you love to do, that thing that keeps you up at night to think about whatever it is that you love. That's what you should be doing as your side hustle. If your side hustle is something that you're just doing because you want to make more money, it's going to be a job. It'll be another job, and you don't need to be working 20 hours for that. 20 hours with a side hustle, that's fun. And don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about the why or the how. Just think about it as already being done. Just think about it as you're already at that craft fair, or you're already singing, or you're already consulting, and you know deep down inside that you can help someone and do whatever it is you need to do. And sometimes there are things that we have inside of us that it's a shame if we held back and if we didn't do it, because, you know, we call it the side hustle, it is, but it's part of just living and doing something else. You know, we live in a capitalist society, so we have to do this the day gig. And even during your day gig, don't be so upset about it. Just do it. And you always seem to incorporate some of your side hustle in your day gig, because I know I do. And now what I do, there's music involved with a lot of stuff, any opportunity. Hey, how about we get a singer to do that or something? So I don't know if I'm not answering your question. So the one is just jump in. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. I think that how would you feel as though that somebody else should actually go about you're touching on the passion, so can you touch on the process? Like, what would I know it's hard to give a solid advice on a process if there are so many different opportunities for a side hustle, but what process would you suggest somebody take to begin a side hustle?
What I did was, with the jazz festival way back when, I just started researching other jazz festivals and see how they're doing that. So, okay, let's find someone who wants to make jewelry. There's a lot out there on Etsy, but don't be afraid of that. There's a lot of jazz festivals, there's a lot of music. Go out there and research and find it. And as you're doing that, you get this vibe as you're looking at other artists saying, yeah, that's me. That's what I'm going to do. And the more that resonates with you, the more it brings you to the next educational piece that's going to come your way. And don't be afraid to ask other people for help. I remember we talked to Longwood Gardens way back when, and I called the manager, and she didn't know me. And I said, you know, how are you doing your things? And do you need some help? And maybe we can bring something over there too, and just start the conversation, because there's a lot of people that were where you were at one point. And you're never fully expert. There's still so much more to learn.
Yes, that's excellent advice. That is, and I think if I could put my 2 cents in, is come up with a plan.
Right.
People talk about business plans. I guess because this is the way my mind works, I would always say come up with a marketing plan. Because if you come up with a marketing plan, to me, the business end rolls in. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of business consultants out there that will disagree with me, and you're probably correct. But I like to always look at things from a marketing perspective. And you touched on this earlier too, where you said, look at done. What does done look like? And then figure out how you get the done. So I think.
Yeah, and don't worry about, it's going to get done, just like I'm playing with my dog and trying to do this interview because she's barking. But the done is, don't worry about the how, I think. It's just every day do something towards that. But while you're doing it, if it's stressful and you're worrying about it, don't do it. Because it's not going to work. It's not going to work, and what's the point then, really?
Right. Do you have any big plans of expanding what your side hustle is, or is this something that you feel as though I'm comfortable where we are, and I think that we're serving our service, and this is what we want to continue to be? How large are your plans?
We've thought about it. We've stayed consistently where we were. We used to do the West Oak Lane Jazz and Arts Festival. That was 4 stages, 3 days. And that was when we were able to get more money. So instead of not doing a festival, we do 1 day and we've 1 stage. So you would think that I'm kind of downsizing instead of upsizing. And we just go with the flow, what it feels like, and I know I'm talking about vibe and how you feel about things, but really that's just being fluid and expanding. Sometimes expanding to be bigger is not as fun. It may not be. I'm not sure. I know that there's giant festivals out there and they're great. Ours was pretty big. We attracted 150,000 people every year for free. We had some big names, but they're even bigger, Montreal. So I don't know if we're looking into bigger. I think we just want to continue to do this. That's
so maybe
the
message in that is keeping your side hustle manageable if it's going to continue to be your side hustle. If it becomes too big or too overwhelming, then maybe that's a setup for a failure.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to do, I sound like I'm Wonder Woman. Oh, I can do this and I can do that and everything is easy. Oh, just do it. It's a vibe. That's true. But I really couldn't do a full-time job and a larger company that we have. I don't think I can do that personally because I also want to drink wine and with my friends and enjoy and go to the beach every once in a while and have some other fun.
And you know what? That's a very key point. And I think everybody, if anybody is listening to this module or this session and they're interested in starting a side hustle or really giving it some thought, to make sure that you make sure it's manageable, because you have to take care of yourself. You have to build in life and your family and friends and your dog and make sure that you have that balance. But so I'm curious, and as we roll this Women in Business online conference out, there'll be a lot of opportunity for engagement for those who are viewing these sessions and our subscribers, that we'll be able to have some feedback. So if those of you who are watching, and if you've even considered a side hustle or you have started one, we'll have opportunities that we're going to want to hear from you. We would like to hear from your successes. We'd like to hear your ideas, and we'd also like to see if we can support you, because that's what it's all about. It's women supporting women and men supporting women, and this conference is help to give information. So any closing thought, Graziella? Any words of wisdom, that just a closing thought?
No worries. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We know that. We hear it. Turn the news off. Don't listen to any of that. try to find your happy place every day, choose happiness, and do what you love to do.
Yeah.
Sounds very simple, I know, and I get the rolling of the eyes all the time, but it really is true because I find the time to do it. I don't know how. I'm doing 2 major events at the same time, and I managed to go see my parents in New York and do all kinds of things, so it's okay.
You find the time because you have the passion.
Yeah, I think that's it, and you'll find the energy because you're not thinking about it as a chore. You wake up and just 5-minute intervals.
That's right. Well, Graziella, I cannot thank you enough for participating with this, and we look forward to your jazz festival online. Can you give somebody when's the date of your festival? Because with this,
yeah, it's November 12th. It's coming up.
Okay, well, this webinar series will have already been will be released after that event, but it'll be hosted online. They can find it on YouTube.
Absolutely. Find it on Lifeline Music Coalition YouTube channel.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Graziella, we wish you well on the festival. I will be watching virtually. We're very excited. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so very much. And everyone just do what you do. Thank you, Pam. I love you.
I love you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
I would like to take a moment to thank our generous sponsors. Through their support, we are able to bring you quality programming and a virtual networking experience. I'd like to thank our corporate sponsors, Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, Parks Casino, TD Bank, Marshall's Distribution Center, Philadelphia. I'd like to thank our executive sponsors, Chorus Services, Holy Family University, Inverse Paradox, Jefferson Health Northeast, Nazareth Hospital, Northeast Family YMCA, PICO, Philadelphia Gas Works, Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation, Rivers Casino, St. Basil Academy, and Witham Smith & Brown. I'd also like to thank our media sponsor, Northeast Times, our production sponsor, Viral Ideas Marketing, and our session sponsors, Fast Signs of Northeast Philadelphia. Please take a moment to reach out to our sponsors and share your positive experience as a subscriber of the 2020 Women in Business Conference. Thank you very much for subscribing, and we hope you enjoy our programming.